Another interesting comment from a Republican official: Texas Republicans are unrepentant after a prominent member of their caucus referred to same-sex couples as sodomites and said that the nation's founders would be appalled that they are being allowed to marry. This is according to Houston's KHOU, and it involves conservative Republicans of Texas President Dr. Steve Hotze, who made the bigoted remarks in a press release supporting Harris County Republican Party Chairman Jared Woodfill, who is running for re-election. Here is the quote from the fundraising letter. Dr. Hotze: "Our founding fathers would be furious to find out that the Constitution was being interpreted to allow sodomites to marry." When asked by KHOU about the remarks, he didn't back down. He said, "I don't know how I could be any clearer. This whole issue is about judicial liberal activism that is trying to redefine marriage." Okay, so let's take this step by step. If we're going to base all of today's law on what the founding fathers would or would not be okay with, would the founding fathers have been in favor of interracial marriage? I don't think so. Did the founding fathers write the Constitution to allow the space program, the interstate highway, the public school system, clean water regulation, mandatory meat inspections, fire departments, television, the internet, the FCC? No. Didn't the founding fathers fight a revolution to get out from under the oppression of religious conservatism? Yes, but you wouldn't know it from how right-wing conservatives today talk about the founding fathers.
No, everyone's an expert and everyone knows exactly what the founding fathers meant as if they knew them personally. I mean, we knew what they fought against. We knew why they came to this country. That's pretty much where it ends. I don't know how they come to these conclusions.
Every time the founding fathers and the Constitution are brought up, I don't think that we shouldn't care about the Constitution or the founding fathers, but to suggest that we don't need to adjust for the fact that the Constitution was written hundreds of years ago, when so many of the things and processes and systems that exist today would be indistinguishable from magic to those who wrote the Constitution. How can anybody honestly argue that we need a literal interpretation of the Constitution? And even if we were able to perfectly ascertain the 100% definitive intention of the founding fathers, who can really argue that that's exactly what we should be sticking to in modern society?
Yeah, of course. I mean, things change. Things are always changing. And many countries around the world embrace that change and change their, I don't know, constitutional equivalents, right?
The other thing, to go back to the marriage part, Lewis, is that the whole myth about so-called traditional marriage, modern marriage has really only been around since, I don't know, the early 1900s, right? This entire concept of engagements and engagement rings and diamonds, which of course we can look at the diamond industry very much for that, and one man, one woman. The idea that just over all of history, the only types of domestic partnership arrangements that have existed are one man married to one woman are ludicrous. Whether we're talking about the Bible, whether we're talking about ancient European societies, whatever it is, we have instances of polygamy, men in multiple individual marriages, three-way marriages, gay relationships. I mean, the idea that what was determined in the 1940s or 50s to be the right way to do marriage as the law for the rest of time is very childish.
It is. And people just keep going back and saying, well, this is what the founding fathers meant. This is their documentation. And it's kind of like the Holy Grail for them. And it can't be changed. It can't be reinterpreted. Well, there have already been changes and additions. So I don't think that that's a good argument anymore.
Coming up next, Congressman Steve Stockman threatened to arrest anyone who publishes a mugshot from when he was arrested. We will show you that mugshot next. Also, don't miss our Patreon page, patreon.com/David Pakman, patreon.com/David Pakman. This is the best way to support the work we are doing day in and day out on our YouTube channel.